It's a new week, a new Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. I'm surprised that you guys are back because you guys are just famous actors now.
Hard, I can tell you. It's been hard to walk around just the streets of Lynchburg because I understand what some of these big time actors go through now. Yeah. It's tough. You just want to go out. I'm just out Chick-fil-A with my family. Just let me have a meal and some time with my family, please.
Guys, I'm telling you, you guys crushed those performances. Like that skit, it might be the best reenactment I've ever seen of any movie of all time.
You know, I was walking out of the house today, and I said, all right, honey, I'm heading on out. And she was talking about, Mr. Liberty, she's always trying to bring me back down, right? So,
Mr. Mayor of the Mountain.
Mr. Mayor of the Mountain, Mr. Podcast, Mr. And I said, ha, ha, ha. I said, I love you. And she goes, oh, I love me. What she said to me.
Yeah.
No, one of my favorite parts of the...
She does not like all the attention that you're getting.
She does not like
One of my favorite parts was we go to shoot the scene of like the bike scooter scene, and Joe walks out, and I'm like, Joe, you can't move your arms.
That was Gracie's jacket.
That was his daughter's jacket.
Hilarious.
And I'm just like, if you move your arm one bit, that thing is ripping all down the side under your armpit. It was, I mean... I don't know if it's a compliment or not, but you are the perfect Harry.
I'll take it.
Take it however you like.
But yeah, it seemed like the response was...
People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
Some really funny responses.
We had a lot of fun doing it.
Yes, no doubt.
It was a lot of fun. Some people are saying, what are you doing for Christmas? Are you doing a Christmas movie reenactment? So if you want to send in what movie you think that we should reenact, Christmas Vacation...
That's possible.
Cousin Eddie.
Elf.
Would you like to see Joe dressed as Elf?
Full green leotard.
So send it in to our mailbag, flamecentral@liberty.edu. You can also send questions, about Liberty sports and football or anything. flamecentral@liberty.edu. We have Coach McKay on the show today. Basketball season is here. I say this every single year. I can't believe. It's always a crossover, when it's like basketball to baseball, football to basketball. It's just crazy that basketball is here. We have a really great conversation.
We do. And I just want to in one big comment, because people, we go around, people are like, what do you think about basketball? What do you think about basketball? My one big overarching theme, I guess, going into this year is be patient during the non-conference portion of the season as a fan, because I do think they're very talented, but so many new pieces. Non-conference may not look as smooth. Remember last year, they came out and they won that tournament they looked unbeatable. Oh my gosh, the threes, all this. And then they got into conference play and it was much more difficult. I think it might be the flip of that this year. They may take some lumps a little bit or may not look as pretty early, but I'm telling you, the talent on this team and the pieces on this team, I think by the time it gets to conference play when it matters most, that's when you're going to see their best basketball.
Yeah, and it was a great wake-up moment last year as you got a conference when you started looking around Conference USA at the level of play. It is a good basketball conference, and I think Coach McKay looked up and down his bench and did say, as hard working and as tough as those kids were, like, this is an athletic conference. So he went out and was able to create a team now that has become much more athletic.
Yeah.
I'm excited for basketball season. Obviously, we're still in the heart of football. Back to the normal schedule, the midweek on the mountain
Midweek
stuff.
Madness is over.
It's over, which I'm kind of happy about. Like, I love it on one hand, but on the other hand, I think it's a little bit more normal for everyone. It gives me, that extra day of like that Sunday buffer to, get my emotions in check before a Monday podcast.
I never realized quite how valuable that was until this year.
Yeah. I will say, and we didn't talk about it. I wanted to mention it.
What do you feel about Caden's
No, stop. But we talk about, and you question the 4th and 1 decision. And again, that was a miscommunication. They weren't supposed to snap the ball. And then you question the interception. None of us would be talking about that if they got a first down and if he did, and they ended up scoring and coming back. None of those question marks are there if that stuff doesn't happen. So
hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, it is. So, but Flames will get back on track on the road in Middle Tennessee. So we'll talk about Those bold predictions. I don't know if we're ever going to get Matt in the Snell scoring system, catch him. But
we still got time.
There's still time.
There's enough.
Plenty of ball to be played. But first, let's go to this conversation with Ritchie McKay. After weeks of calling in Emily, when can I get back on the podcast?
Right.
Begging.
You know, begging. Basketball season is actually here too, Emily. Can I please come on the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage? Ladies and gentlemen, head coach Ritchie McKay, a friend, a favorite of the show.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I wanted to get back on because of these two.
Whoa.
Yeah, last week's podcast.
Their acting careers
Yeah.
have skyrocketed. I mean,
That's fair
I
statement.
can't believe they even showed up this
We
week.
have a lot of opportunities, but I want you to know that this podcast will always come first.
yeah. Is there a buyout in the
Yeah,
podcast?
well, we're looking into the fine print to see what we can do.
You know, I personally got a lot of calls from Hollywood, but you know that Hollywood elite crowd just really
Not-
isn't
it's
me,
not
and
you.
it doesn't align with my value system and whatnot. And so, I mean, a couple big major movies,
Majors.
more in that, you know,
Okay, let's rein it back
Paramount Studios. Let's just
in.
say.
Coach,
Wow,
Coach, do you want
impressive.
the good or the bad news first?
Let's take the bad news first.
Oh yeah,
then.
give them that.
I won't be on the sidelines asking you incredible in-depth questions as much as I want to be this upcoming basketball season.
I mean,
Yeah.
why? That's tragic.
Because the good news, you guys are going to be on national TV quite a bit, a ton this
Really?
season.
Yeah. Now, there's
Yeah.
no one that says you can't just kind of hang out in the tunnel and just kind of badger him as he goes.
Yes, there
by.
is.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Ideas,
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds
Do
like
fake
good.
interviews.
It sounds like good news. Good news.
Yeah. Where's the bad news? Yeah.
Okay, you know, it's already hard enough with these two. But okay, so basketball season is
It's here.
here.
Yeah.
How excited are you? First of all, I'm glad you're here because there was some speculation on X, and you know everything you read on social media is true. That I didn't know if you were going up the street.
Here we go.
You know, like so
here we
I
go.
just
Well,
you know
there we
me
go.
and my
She's
emotional
so
roller
paranoid,
coaster.
it's unbelievable.
Obviously,
I don't. You can't
obviously,
go.
we're here.
We're here. The bobblehead is secured. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I think every coach in the country is excited right now because we get to see what our team is like, and I think there's a little trepidation when you have 5 new guys and you're playing 19 of your first 25 days in November. You're on the road, but I think again that's why you play a schedule that we tried to get, and I really feel like our group is prepared. So.
But I feel like on the road thing, sometimes when you're on the road, you do get a little closer because there aren't those home distractions. Would you agree?
I think that's the positive of being on the road so much early because our team has no choice but to connect. Now, would we like to go all the way across country to play in Seattle? Probably not. But although Seattle Pacific, my alma mater,
That's right.
is right around the corner.
You're checking
see
on the
if-
statue.
See if my jersey's up there.
Make sure they
Statue
clean the
jersey.
statue.
Yeah, right.
But no, again, another quality opponent. So I do think there will be some unmanufactured connection just by being in the airport or in the hotel together. And again, I think our group is connected. Like I feel really good about the people that we have. Let's just see how well we play together.
Don't let anyone jump off the jet bridge.
That's a Dumb and Dumber quote. Yeah. People when they talk about going into the portal and you hadn't really done that to this extent before, it's always viewed almost as a negative. Like, oh well, you got to change with the times. What have you enjoyed most? And I know, obviously, the season. That's we're gonna find out the most in. But to this point, with these guys and going through this process, what have you enjoyed most about it?
Yeah, great question.
Oh wow, thank you. I appreciate
Full disclosure, like I have had an aversion to the portal, having so many transfers, just because maybe I think there's a stereotype that hey, if you're taking a guy from the portal, something's wrong with him, and I don't think that's true in nowadays college basketball. I just think because of the opportunity they have for whatever NIL, more opportunity to transfer and play right away. They need a different scene or scenery. I just think there's there's some value in it. And what I think our staff and I tried to do was not change our template. Like, they had to be a great fit for our university. They had to be about and honestly, what I like or what I enjoy the most is our guys they've really surrendered to the culture. They have become us. We haven't become them. And I think they're good players. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to undermine how talented they are, but they're really good people, and they want to be at Liberty. So I think that's been the most enjoyable part since June.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because when you set you talk about your culture, like your culture's set in place. Like this, you need to, this is who we are, this is what we want to be, this is what we're going to establish. But then you get to the basketball side of things and you look at from how your team was last year and now you go into the portal, you can just look at paper and look at them on paper and say, hey, this team's really changed a lot. How does that change your coaching style? And schematically, maybe you coach this team. Is it completely different, or is it like, nope, this is what we do, this is how we're going to do it, and we're just going to conform to it that way?
Yeah, like
whatnot?
Back to back, really good questions.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, Coach. Those are two really good questions by Matt and I.
Yeah, I think there's it would be prudent upon us to kind of, I don't want to say water down, but not have the same expectation of the year's worth of deposits that our guys have in our defense. Like, there's 5 new ones that are going to play right away. And so I think we have to have some allowances for them not knowing the system as well as others do. And I think maybe just kind of tweaking the system a little bit would be beneficial for a group, just to edit it down, not to change the system, because again, I think you're right. I think our culture's in place, but the way we play and how we play, I do think you'll see a little bit of difference.
But you think defensively, is that where you feel like you have to do that the most? Because I mean, we think 8-9 years ago, I mean, defense first. We've heard it over and over from you and from the players. The longer you're in this defensive system, the better you get, the more you understand it. Well, a lot of these guys, they're not going to have the opportunity to be in it longer.
The way college football or basketball is now.
Yeah. So is that side of the ball you feel like where it shows up more?
It's probably more prevalent on that side of the ball, just because I mean, it is what it is. It's the pack line defense. There's an adherence to it that I believe in, and I've got to trust you that you can execute it. But I do think we have to have some concessions related to guys who don't know it as well as we would hope or expect. Because I think that's what gets us all, right? Unmet expectations. So I just think there'll be a maturity that our staff has to have to maybe create a more healthy, free atmosphere.
Speaking of expectations, CUSA preseason polls have Liberty finishing tied for 5th with UTEP. Ooh. Does your team like that? Do you have a little chip on your shoulder because of those projections? Oh.
So I like that. I haven't paid any attention to it.
That's actually surprising to me, Coach. You seem like you're usually really tied up in preseason polls.
Yeah.
You're that type of coach.
No, I think our league is good. I do. Although it's just a one-bid league, and what the difference is, and this is no indictment on the A-side, there's no bottom. Like, every road game you have in this league is a difficult one, and it doesn't matter what the opponent's record. Just the aesthetics, you got to fly a long way to get to places, and typically you're gone for a while, and there's some really good coaches and really good players. So I could care less about whether we were 1st or 9th, 10th. That doesn't matter to me, because the games have to be played. I get it's the narrative that the media has to have, and I'm okay with that. I want you to be able to do your job.
Gives us something to talk about.
We've got to have something to do.
Wait, you guys are working?
Year 2 in Conference USA. Again, 10, 15 years ago, you'd say, well, we know 75% of their roster now. We saw those guys. You don't get that now. But just knowing the coaches and what they want to run, is that the biggest advantage year 2 in the league as opposed to what you had coming in fresh?
Yeah, we haven't recruited.
That wasn't a good question?
Yeah, of course it was.
You don't need to say that. You don't need to say that.
It's understood.
Yeah, we know.
Sorry.
It's understood.
We haven't recruited against any other Conference USA opponent in the 2 years we've been in the league. So,
Really?
yeah, I think it's probably more geographically based than anything else. But I know a little bit of some of the guys that they have, but I think the familiarity with the systems, having seen them, scouted them, I think that's a little bit of an advantage. But they have the same thing; they've seen us and had to prep for us. So, what it comes down to is teamwork, and because I think it remains the ultimate competitive advantage. And we hear for 6 or 7 months all about NIL and how many transfers you got and what's your salary cap. Like all that narrative is silenced once we hit the games, unless the coaches are making excuses for why they aren't winning, and they say we need more NIL. But everyone needs more of something, right? Yeah. So I think for us, just continue to uphold the fabric of our DNA, and that's connection. And I hope we can continue to do that, because if we do, we're rightly representing our university, and we're fielding a competitive basketball team.
Coach, let me ask you on this one. If at UVA, okay, with Coach Bennett there, and you were with Coach Bennett, you obviously hit a lot of his philosophies. When this is my theory, and Joe Yock's a basketball guy too. He's not just a football guy, right? But here's my theory. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm
correct
wrong.
him.
But how hard do you find it when you play at UVA, for example, which is, what are they known for? Defense, right? How hard is it to go out and recruit, and what are they not known for? Great scores, right? Not scoring as many points, not high point games. How hard is it to go out and recruit really good offensive players when they've got other people recruiting them too, to work within a system that is so defensive minded? I feel as if at Virginia that hurt Coach Bennett along the way throughout, especially more recently. They just couldn't score, right? And my theory was like, dude, it's hard to go out and recruit a kid who's a big time scorer. I'm coming here, I want to score, right? And now all you're going to talk to me is about defense. That kid's not going to be real in tune with that aspect thing. So my question to you is, am I wrong about that, or how hard is it to really recruit really good offensive players?
Yeah. What position did you play in football?
Wide receiver.
Okay, that answers that.
Score. You're a scorer.
Yeah.
Score.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think Tony Bennett is as good a basketball coach as our game has seen in the last 2 decades. He's fabulous, and their defensive system is elite. It really is. I feel like my coaching career was greatly enhanced and benefited from the time I spent with him. I would tell you, Joe, I think the recruiting thing gets silenced when you see how many NBA players he has. So guys can come to Virginia and have that stigma of being a great defensive program, but maybe not so much offensively. And it's easily dispelled once you win, because when you're winning, people take notice. And by his own admission, Tone would say, I want to do something different offensively and all that. And I think that's part of the reason why he decided to shut it down a little bit. But I think the two can. I think the two can be merged together, and players can be really happy by being a great defender and having some freedom offensively that could maybe help in their future aspirations.
Right. But do you know that when you're on the recruiting trail and you're like, hey, it's us in between these other schools, do other schools, I don't know if you know this or not, do they say that again when they recruit against you? Like, hey, you're going there to play defense. Is that what you really want to do?
I was there for 6 years. Yeah, they other schools would talk about our tempo and how many points per game we score. But again, all that gets silenced when I think they're second in the country in terms of players that have been in the NBA the last 6 or 7 years. So
right. So obviously they've had some scores.
Well, they've had some guys that are good enough to play at the highest level.
Right.
So I don't worry about that. If someone wants to come to our place or a school for just what they can do individually offensively,
You're at the wrong place.
Yeah, that's the wrong place, because we want to win, and I think you have to play both ends of the floor to do that. But I get look. There's a lot of down and dirty things done in recruiting, so that's, I'm sure, been a narrative that staff has fought for years. But I think it's easily dispelled by, again, how many NBA people show up in their arena to watch their team practice or play.
Coach, what position would you play for football? Linebacker?
You mean what position did I play? Or did you not?
Come on.
Do you not have a bio?
He's got a little football in his family.
He's got a little
Really?
football.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you've
Coach, what
noticed, but
position
I
did
have
you play?
never researched anything for this show.
Coach, what position did you play?
So
football?
in junior high,
We're going back to middle
Why,
school.
yeah, why didn't they have that on the back of your bobblehead?
Yeah.
Junior
Stats.
high.
yeah, actually I loved football. My younger brother played for the University of Washington when they shared a national
Get
championship.
outta here.
Yeah,
Wow.
1990.
No, what my best friend who I played with
Best friend's
in
dog's
Canada
sister.
played on that team.
Who's that?
His name's Joe Krolick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
know
played
he is.
wide receiver.
Wide receiver number 19. Had the curly hair.
Yes.
Orlando was number
What?
84, I believe. Wide receiver Mario Bailey. He was
Yeah.
a 4th or 5th round pick of the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told a
Wait,
story.
who was it that played? It was your
His brother.
your
My
brother.
Orlando.
Orlando.
You told
Okay,
a story. Didn't your brother kind of tip you off to Brett Favre? He was like the first one.
So I was going to see Dick Bennett, who was and is a mentor of mine, and I was coaching at Bradley, and Coach Bennett was at Green Bay, and Orlando was drafted by the Packers. So I said, "Hey, I'm going to come up there and talk to Coach Bennett, man. Can I come by your camp?" He said, "Yeah." So I go up and I see Coach Bennett, and I was supposed to be there for 20 minutes. We ended up there for 3 hours, and I missed the practice. I got there right at the end, and Orlando's saying, "Oh man, my hands are killing me." I said, "Why?" He said, "We got this quarterback. He'll never make it. He throws the ball way too hard." I said, "What's his name?" Brett Favre or something like that.
Yeah. It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out
It
for
worked
Brett.
out okay for him.
Orlando was in
That's
the CFL the next year.
Well, then you must be rooting for the Packers now with Malik Willis.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
I'm a huge Malik fan.
Love Malik. Love Malik.
Coach, let's talk schedule. All right. Valpo, Seattle to start the season. Like, those may be sneaky good games, like better games maybe than people realize, better opponents than people realize.
Yeah, no doubt. Valpo returned a bunch, and they're in their second year. Neutral floor, chance for them to brand their program, if you will. So I'm sure they'll be ready for us. And then we get back and practice one day, leave for the West Coast, trying to get there to get used to the time difference. And Seattle U's got some. They won the CBI last year, and they have. I want to say they've lost 5 or 6 games in the last 2 or 3 years at home. So it's a tough place to play. The bleachers are all on one side, and it's a very intimate, cozy setting. So, yeah, we'll have our work cut out for us. And then we come home for a game against a non-1 and go right to the Field of 68 Classic in Charleston. Obviously, you guys will have me on again before then, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was wondering if we bring the Flame Central podcast live from
no.
Charleston.
On the road.
On the
that's a good
road?
spot.
I mean, I think that, are there 3 seats on the plane?
Well, you know
No,
what?
we're going to need 4 for a camera guy.
For a camera guy?
Yeah. So 4 seats, and we can bring the FCP all on the road.
Can you bring the scooter?
But yes.
Oh,
We
God.
might.
You might just
We'll
ride.
drive there. We'll
Matt
drive
almost
it.
ran
We'll
that.
take it. Yeah, we can get
Just
great
drive it.
mileage.
Matt-
Yeah.
Just go, man. Just go.
Yeah.
It does get 70 miles to the gallon.
heard.
Matt almost wrecked it coming into
I
the
did.
studio last
it does.
week.
It's a little,
So
turning it was a little difficult. It's not built for 2 grown men.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
tell you that.
you want your non-conference schedule to prepare you for the league, and I think our non-conference schedule does that. So I'm excited about it, and may as well do the Flame Central podcast from the Virgin Islands. Like if we're gonna go
If
somewhere,
we're gonna do this, let's do this.
yeah,
I
let's do it
mean,
right.
Might be
go
hard to
big
get
or
the
go
scooter
home.
there,
I
but-
mean, we went to
That thing's
the
gonna
Fiesta
stink.
Bowl. Why not? Yeah.
Oh man. Are we done with schedule? Because I have one more question for Coach.
My last question would be: is this a good time just to unveil your starting 5 for game 1? You want
That
to
is
do
a
that?
great
great
question, Matt.
I
like
mean-
I'm being actually serious.
Is this a great time?
Is it? I don't.
Starting 5.
Well, who would you guys start?
All right. All right. Well,
Let's see what this.
All right,
Matt
wait,
actually has the time to go and watch practice.
You probably,
I don't have to. I don't have to.
you probably could do it. I don't think these 2 could.
Okay.
I can't
Yeah,
even-
that's probably true.
Yeah.
She's Googling it.
Just look at yeah.
Liberty Flames basketball
At
roster.
least I'm
Liberty
sitting here being
Flames
honest.
basketball
Yeah.
roster.
Zach Cleveland.
Okay, go. Give us a 5.
Yeah. All right. So you go Matheny, obviously.
Yeah.
You go Zach Cleveland. I would go Alex Aquino. Then this is when the question, and I'm curious to know if you stick with the starting 5. Like typically you've been like, you know who you're rolling out, or if you go more like game to game because you have so much versatility within that group. But this is where it gets tough.
Oh boy.
I like Talon Peter. Could you play him at like the 2 and then go with like a throw Moffmer out there as well? Could you play those 5 together?
You could, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Coach, how much of that, when you say starting 5, obviously you've got a bench. So how much of your starting 5 revolves around who you're matching up against?
Yeah, I think
that's a big factor
wow.
too.
I think that's really fair.
That's a good question.
We actually have 7 starters. We can only start 5, otherwise it's a technical foul.
They don't like that.
But I think all those that you mentioned, obviously Colin Porter
Right.
and Isaiah Enan, a transfer from Minnesota, is a strong candidate to start. It may be a game time decision. I mean, I haven't made up my mind yet, and certainly want the staff's input. But I do think we have a deeper roster this year. Again, by my own admission, I think we had a need to get longer and a little quicker. And,
I mean, you've done that.
And I think we've satisfied that need. So whether or not we can play together well enough to win the game, we'll see. But our bench it's a little deeper than it was last year, and I'm excited about that because I do think we wore down a little bit at the end. This first time in a long while. I think we lost 5 of our last 7, so it didn't end like we've ended in the past. And I think part of that is we put some heavy minutes on a lot of those starters.
Yeah.
You gave some good key words about this team, but if you had to fill in the blank, this team compared to last year and how it's different, this team is blank.
Well, Emily.
See, I don't ask questions anymore. I just give, that's a statement,
I've heard it said comparison is the thief of joy and the enemy of contentment.
Write that one down. Write that one down.
I'm not sure about your question. Would you go ahead? Did you want to?
No, I was just like,
She's just looking at the roster. I'm introducing her to the players right now. Yeah.
We do have another player, Gabriel McKay.
Yeah. We know him. We know him.
G is the Players Lounge. People, if you haven't watched that, we have some great
we have one coming out this week with Isaiah Enan. So
he and JC are really good at this.
They do it. They
like
do a good job.
They're clowns.
Yes, absolutely.
But they both can they can do it at the drop of a hat.
And they have no problem just going at each other.
No.
Oh yeah. It's almost
no.
like, when I need 2 more actors that, I might lose here.
What about having you guys on the
Players Lounge?
Players Lounge.
Crossover events?
I'm a little scared for that.
Yeah.
But Talon Peter, great singing voice. If you didn't see that one,
Talon does not lack for personality.
That was hilarious.
No.
Yeah.
They're so good. Favorite part about being a grandpa? I saw your little one at practice a couple weeks ago. Still working on the dunking. He clearly plays defense. Defensive guy. But what's it been? What's your favorite part about being a grandpa?
There's so many unbelievable moments of joy when you have a grandchild. I think the neatest thing is seeing our own son and his wife, Caitlin, who's just fabulous, raising them. And knowing that, okay, you shouldn't do that.
Oh man!
But no, it's a joy. It's family, and I think it's been a real blessing to have them so close.
Awesome. You guys good?
Yeah, Coach, excited for the season.
I'm so pumped for hoop season.
Can I ask one thing? Could maybe
Sure.
would there be a way that I could maybe
Oh gosh.
have some kind of acting situation similar to what you guys had? Like
That's true.
I think
What's
it would.
good?
Yeah, we could work.
Well, we were talking about doing Christmas Vacation because we did
Or
Halloween
some sort of Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So,
we gotta work
I got to
something
think
out.
of a character that you could fit into a Christmas movie role.
What's your favorite all-time Christmas movie?
Christmas Vacation,
It
hands
is?
down. Cousin
Really?
Eddie.
Not Home Alone.
No.
Home Alone's great.
It's a
Home Alone
Wonderful
is
Life.
so good.
It's like a classic, and then Christmas Vacation, which is very different.
My brother makes us watch Christmas Story on repeat for 24 hours.
Oh, it's a great.
awful.
It's a great movie.
I'm gonna go with Christmas Vacation or Elf.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
love that.
Obviously, you've seen it a couple
yeah,
times.
she's seen it a couple of times.
I actually
You're
ate
not
spaghetti
Santa.
and syrup
You come
for
from a land of
breakfast.
lies.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
that's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Well,
Joe dressing up in yellow
we-
tights.
Elf.
No
I
big
can see
deal.
it.
Maybe that would be
Oh
our
my God.
movie, Coach.
Think about it. Think about it.
Okay.
I'd love to
Okay,
make a
cool.
guest appearance, and I'll get you in touch with my agent.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, well, our people contact your
Okay,
people.
great.
Yeah.
But we'll have you on before then. Coach McKay, thanks so much again for your time. And best
Wait.
of luck this season.
Are we not going to say this?
Oh, yes, come on.
Oh, yeah. And we're really dropping the ball on new mugs,
Goodness.
but
Gracious.
we can't even send
I
these
mean,
out.
watch how smooth. You won't say anything.
Who
to
made these mugs?
I know.
They're beautiful mugs.
You're watching the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Bam!
We didn't even have to tee
I
him
mean-
up. He was ready to
He
go.
didn't need it. He's a pro.
He's a pro. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
I really think Coach McKay wants to be the fourth host on this show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just see the amount of respect he has, like for the questions that we
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
Like there
No
is this
doubt.
like commonality there where
Yeah.
it's like he gets us, we get him.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not part of this.
Yeah.
No, but he loves the Flame Central podcast,
Oh, he
powered by
does.
Alcova Mortgage.
For
He's
sure
already
he
waiting
does.
for his
For
call
sure he
back.
does.
What I thought was interesting, what I want to ask you guys about, Tony Bennett announcing his retirement a couple weeks ago with the pack line defense and what Coach McKay said of how they've had to adjust. Because think about it. We've said it a million times. You have to be in that system
Right.
2-3 years to really perfect it, learn it, understand it. And it seems like Coach McKay is doing the right thing, as we all expected, in order to handle this transfer portal world with the pack line defense.
Yeah, it's going to be a transition, and I'm sure he would prefer being able to do it where you have those guys 2, 3, 4 years, and not just for the on-court stuff.
Right.
Like Coach McKay, you talked about culture building and what they built. That's why, like that's a big part of that as well. Like that's why he would love to have guys 2, 3, 4 years here.
Yeah.
Like long term,
Takes
because
time.
because the culture aspect of it and that culture that you build and those relationships you build, like the Kyle Rhodes, like that doesn't happen in a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like those relationships and that leadership and all that. So that's part of the reason that he likes that as well, not just on for his defensive system. But yes, like any good coach, you take your personnel into account and you say, what can they do well? What do we coach well? And what do we believe in? Now, how do we make it work together? Like, it doesn't work if you just say, this is what we do. Sorry if it's not your skill set. You're here. Figure it out. Like,
Right.
that doesn't always work. So I do think there may be some tweaks. It may not be what we saw 7, 8 years ago on the defensive end, but what he believes in is staying the same. You may just see guys that are more athletic doing it, and you may see them be better defensively simply because they have more size.
Right.
They have
Yeah.
more versatility. And so maybe they don't understand the system and the depths of it as much as guys that had been here 4 or 5 years. But the athleticism and the size allows them to close that gap a little.
It's like the old Bible verse that says, "Love covers up a multitude of sin." Right? Size covers up a multitude of sin in the game of basketball. Is that just if there's mistakes, that if you got guys that can protect the rim, you can get a lot done. But I think the one thing that the word that he kept saying over and over was the word concessions. Like, hey, we may not have these, like, here's the manual, here's the pack line manual, and here's 100% of what we're trying to get to. And then you go through that manual and you say, okay, I got this guy, and this guy. Well, I can make concessions here, here, and here in order to help fit so that they can properly play good defense. It may not be exactly what it wants to be, but you can make concessions if you have that athleticism, especially around the rim, and then the ability to contest threes. I think those are
This
the
entire
two
time,
big things.
I thought he was talking about the concession stand.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
Oh, boy.
Emily's
Really got to get that eating under control.
Emily's got hot dogs on her mind.
Always have food on my mind. So what I also loved is that Coach McKay put Matt on the spot about, like, what would your starting five be?
Yeah, and I want to apologize. I said Alex Aquino. It's Owen Aquino. So I'm learning. We're all learning here. We're all learning these new guys.
There are lessons,
Lessons
in
in
losing, and
learning.
yeah, and learning, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so basketball will be here. It is here, but we still
the
need
first
to
game?
do
Today.
today.
Like when this comes out today, yeah.
Oh,
Monday.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
We're here.
We're rocking and rolling.
We're
Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah.
We're rolling. They're actually flying Coach out.
Is it
right?
on TV?
That is to be determined. I don't know that it is. They're working on it, but I don't think
There's got to be something we can hack into online.
yeah. But then they go to Seattle, and then that is on ESPN Plus. Yeah, nice.
All right, like I said, back to the normal schedule
Yes.
for Liberty football, playing on a Saturday, November 9th at Middle Tennessee.
Bold predictions.
Bold predictions.
Bold predictions.
Bold
I
predictions.
don't want to go first. I don't want to go
You
first.
want to go first, Joe?
I'll go first. My bold.
I hate this part of the show.
My
I hate this
my
part of
bold
the show.
prediction
I hate
is-
Flames fantasy
You ready?
updates.
You ready?
Yeah.
My bold prediction is,
3
Emily,
touchdowns.
Caden Salter throws 4 touchdown passes. 4, folks. Caden Salter throws 4 touchdown passes, and he does it with a smile on his face the entire time.
There you
I'm
go.
fine with that. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with
What's
that.
your score, Joe?
I'm going to go. Well, he throws 4 touchdown passes. So they'll win 24.
16 dead, yeah.
I hate you guys
24,
so much.
21.
Why do I keep coming back
Why do
to
you?
work?
This joke will only end when the football season.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know until
Yeah.
until I say something. No, no. don't worry about
Flames win 31-21.
31-21. Okay.
Chain it up.
I got 31-17 Liberty. So pretty similar. And I'll go my bold prediction. I'll go Elijah Canyon, 2 touchdowns over 75 yards receiving.
that. Wait, what
You
was
gotta
your
go
bold?
Let's go 100.
Oh, for-
We'll go 100. We'll go.
Yeah,
We'll be bold. Let's go
75
100.
is not bold enough. 100.
We'll go 100.
Okay.
2 TDs, 100 yards.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 35-17 Liberty, and the Flames score 6. No, I'm kidding. The running backs combine, whether that's your boy Blue, Cooley, or
Billy Coolhan Lucas.
Billy Coolhan Lucas, combined for 4 touchdowns.
All right.
Okay.
What was your score?
35-17.
We're all pretty much in the same neighborhood.
Middle
30.
Tennessee
We're gonna make
doesn't really stop
this-
the run. So
Jeff Snell really worked
Jeff
on
Snell's
this one.
gonna
He's
have to sharpen the pencil for
really,
this
yeah.
one.
well,
Yes, he
you
will.
just like Cooley played with so much heart on
Absolutely.
Wednesday. So I mean his post game
And
press
that's something
conference
that
was
we didn't
incredible.
really get into, but
He was
like
listening to
Cooley
post-game.
laid it all out
He did.
there.
He
Yeah.
had a good post-game
Yeah.
conference. I did listen. That was good.
Yeah, I mean that is like that's what you want from your team captain and your leader. So I have a feeling whether he's getting those 4 or if he's letting his other boys eat too, the ground game is showing up in Middle Tennessee.
All right.
All right,
That's all I got.
cool. All right, guys.
all we got. That's all
Another
we
great
got.
show. Again, don't forget, no mailbag. So send in those questions, flamecentral@liberty.edu. And don't forget your Christmas movie suggestions.
Yeah, I guess last
as
thing
well.
would be like, Joe, what do we do for people that are maybe looking for home?
mean-
Is there anything like that? You know anybody?
You know, we've had a little bump in interest rates here lately.
Okay.
You know, but it's election time.
Yeah, right.
It's right around the corner, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully after the
are
election,
fluid.
Things are a little fluid. We're
Yeah.
moving and shaking. So after the election's over, things are. But you know what? Especially those people looking to purchase, great time to purchase. I always tell people, listen, buy now, get into the house, and don't wait for rates to drop down. Because guess what happens then?
Date the rate.
Date the rates, right? Marry the house, right, Emily?
Right.
Okay. And so here's what I'm saying to you: it's like, why get into your house, get secure now, and
Especially with the holidays.
with the
You gotta
holidays
get
coming.
you
you
gotta
wanna
get
be
those
moving. Could
ovens
you
hot
imagine?
for
Are you kidding me?
Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
Christmas.
Pumpkin spice lattes in your new house.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Are you kidding me?
Can't
But
believe
no,
it.
what I'm saying is that you get in the house now, right? Then when they lower interest rates, guess what happens? Everybody standing on the sidelines wants to get in the game.
Mhm.
They want to get in the game. Everybody jumps in the game. They flood the market, drives the price up. What are you doing?
And
You're sitting in your place already with a cup of Joe 3.0.
Yeah.
laughing at those people on the bench.
Laugh at those people on the bench going, oh, the value of my house is going up. And then I just refi, baby. It's too easy. All you got to do is go to alcova.com/Liberty, save up to $5,000 in closing costs for Liberty alumni, staff, employees. It's almost too easy.
Too easy. All right, thanks so much for listening or watching. Reminder, we are back to normal Monday
Mondays.
schedule. For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you next week.
Peace.